Just wanted to make a quick video about my thoughts about what has happened in the last couple days regarding Julian Assange. So basically, Julian Assange was sought political asylum through Ecuador. He got that at the Ecuadorian embassy. He had been there, I believe, for almost 7 years, but he was never able to leave the embassy and get to Ecuador because if he left the embassy, then the London authorities would have took him into custody and most likely, extradited him to the United States. And so on Thursday, he was the Ecuadorian embassy. They let the London authorities into the embassy, and he is now in the custody of the London authorities, and this is a huge problem for a number of reasons. Julian Assange is a co-founder of Wikileaks. They're a news organization. They release, classified information, no different than the New York Times, the Guardian, the Washington Post. None of those organizations have ever been prosecuted in the same way that WikiLeaks is being prosecuted now, which is a huge problem for press freedom. As Chris Hedges pointed out in an excellent TruthDig article, I believe published yesterday, definitely worth reading. First they came for Assange, and then next, they will be coming for us. So this is a huge problem that we should all be worried about. This is definitely politically motivated because what Assange exposed through WikiLeaks, was definitely corruption and horrible things happening, horrible things that have been done by our government, such as, Reuters journalists and civilians in Iraq getting gunned down, by a helicopter. They also expose, corruption in the Democratic Party and all kinds of, different things, on both on the left and on the right of the, political spectrum. So this is just something that we all should, maybe contact our political representatives and let them know that this is not something that we stand for. This is not something we support. He should not be extradited to the United States. He should be a free person. He should be able to travel, back to his homeland of Australia. We should not be, as a country, prosecuting Julian Assange or WikiLeaks or Bradley Manning or Chelsea Manning for that point. She is also back in prison for refusing to testify against Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. We're increasingly living in a totalitarian state, and this is just another example of us creeping further and further down that road. And if we don't do anything now to stop that further decline into a totalitarian state, then honestly we only have ourselves to blame. So I'm going to write a letter to my elective representatives. I don't know if it'll do much, but it's something. Making YouTube videos is something, posting on social media, educating other people about why this is such a big issue, I think is something. And if anybody has any other suggestions of how we can lend our support and solidarity to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks and Chelsea Manning, for that example, I would love to hear them. But basically, like I was saying earlier, all Julian Assange has done is not anything different than what the Washington Post, for example, did when they published the Pentagon Papers back in the day about being lied into Vietnam and all the crazy shit that was happening with regards to that. So yeah, no media source has ever been published for releasing classified documents because, you know, they weren't even the person or the organization to, you know, take or steal those or take those classified documents. They were just given them and they published them because this is stuff that we should know about. This is speaking truth to power. This is holding our government accountable. And oftentimes, you know, Wikileaks or the Pentagon Papers, they expose stuff that our government was doing, some really horrible stuff that, you know, we as the American people didn't know about, and that's really important. And when our government tries to prosecute Julian Assange or Wikileaks or Chelsea Manning, it should send a chill down all of our spines, because this is an attack on the freedom of press. This is the attack on, you know, in the case of Chelsea Manning whistleblowers, or Edward Snowden, you know, as well. So it's just, you know, really sorry state of affairs when we live in a country that, instead of, you know, really honestly, we should be celebrating these people as heroes, honestly. Instead, we're trying to throw them in prison or, you know, torture them as we have Chelsea Manning before. It's just really sad, but we need to continue to speak up and fight back against this. Like I said, I would love to hear your thoughts around this, how we can try to create further positive change around this. Much love. Peace.